What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome on into the Bulls Report. I'm your host, Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about a Walker Kessler Nikola Vucevic trade idea. This is being floated out there on the internet. Got a lot of traction, so I want to give you guys my thoughts on that. And then Matas Buzelis, the face of the franchise, want to go over his season preview and 5 things he needs to work on this upcoming season. But before we dive into it all, if you guys could, make sure you are subscribed here to the channel. The NBA season just around the corner, so we're going to get more videos out to you guys every single week. So if you guys have not already, hit that subscribe button today. And plus, we're only 96 subs away from 13K. So if you guys want to send me a message, send my bosses a message that you guys want more Bulls videos here weekly, hit that subscribe button today. All right, so this was the Nikola Vucevic Walker Kessler trade idea, and it's an interesting one. So in this deal, the Bulls are receiving Walker Kessler, Kyle Anderson, and the Jazz are receiving Nikola Vucevic and the first-round pick the Bulls have from the Portland Trailblazers. Now, just looking at it right here, you're probably thinking that's a pretty valuable first-round pick, but it is lottery protected, and if it does not convey this upcoming season, it will turn to a second-round pick. So you're necessarily just doing a Vooch for Kessler swap. You allow the Jazz to move off that Kyle Anderson contract. The Bulls are able to move off Vooch's deal, and the Bulls would get a nice young center in this trade, but I doubt this is enough to get this deal done. Now, Danny Ainge, president of basketball operations over there in Utah, he is a stickler when it comes to trades, so you are always going to have to overpay for his players. And even there, I just think maybe the Bulls would have to attach 2 first-round picks to get this done, and the Bulls are in no position to attach future draft capital for a win-now piece in Walker Kessler. But if that was the trade, just giving up that Portland Trailblazers first-round pick, I would 100% do it because Kessler, in my opinion, would be the ideal center for this Bulls young core because you obviously got Josh Giddey. He's clearly going to be the point guard of the franchise here for the next couple of seasons. You got 2 young athletic wings you're trying to build around in Essengay and Matas Buzelis, and you got also a dynamic scoring guard in Kobe White. You're going to need that anchor defensively, and Walker Kessler is just that. Like, he can protect the rim at a high level. He can actually switch on the guards and pick and roll situations at a pretty high level as well. So I would much rather have that have the Bulls have that rim protecting, defensive minded archetype of center. Pretty much a complete opposite of who Nikola Vucevic is at this point. And Kessler had a pretty damn good year last year, averaging a double-double, 11.1 points per game, 12.2 boards, obviously protecting the rim at an extremely high level. I mean, in 30 minutes per game, he was averaging 2.4 blocks a game, obviously efficient from the field at 66.3%. Does struggle from the free throw line a little bit at 52%, but I'll say this, the future of the center position for the Bulls is a major concern because if we're trying to look, where the Bulls will be in 3-4 years from now, because obviously you're not going to contend this year, probably not going to contend the year after, but you're hoping once Buzelis and Josh Giddey, 3-4 years playing with each other, then maybe, in 2027, 2028, you try to go on a deep playoff run, but you still have a massive hole at the center position. You really still have a massive hole at the 4 spot. Now, unless they have Buzelis, he'll develop into be that, starting 4 eventually, or maybe they go Essengay at that spot. But that center position, you don't have a young guy on the roster you like. You got Nikola Vucevic on an expiring deal. Now, they could obviously attack it in free agency or the draft one of these next 2 off seasons, or you could just get a for sure piece, which is Walker Kessler. So if this is the trade, I would do this in a heartbeat. I just think the Jazz hang up the phone right away. But you guys let me know your thoughts. Would you accept this trade? Give me an A for accept. Give me a D for decline. You guys let me know if you would do this deal. Let me know your thoughts down below. But I would do this easily. I think this would be a good trade for the Bulls. Our first-round pick for the Trailblazers could be valuable if they make the playoffs, but more likely than not, Portland will have that pick turned into a second-round pick next season. So I would do this trade ASAP. But let's talk about Boozy. Matas Buzelis, my favorite player on the Bulls by far. Frankly, it's not even close. But I do want to talk about Boozy and how he can take that next step because, if we're talking future of the Bulls franchise, the number one thing we should all be rooting for is for Matas Buzelis to turn into an all-star. And how can he take that step? It just starts with getting him more touches and more experience because, think about how young this kid is. Like 20 years old. He's only played 1 year in the league. He's an incredibly raw player too, which, we knew that when the Bulls drafted him. He had a lot of untapped potential. He just needs, to sandpaper his game. And the best way to do that is just to get him more touches. So I would like to see him run more pick and rolls this upcoming year. Maybe get him some more touches out of the low block. Just get this guy the basketball more touches because I also think he's a pretty underrated playmaker. So if he starts being such a force offensively where teams are, having to double team him, I actually think he could be a good enough passer where he could generate offense not only for himself but for his teammates. So you got to start with getting him more touches. And then also, I want to see that improved physicality. He put a lot of weight on his frame this offseason. Probably put on around 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. So use that to your advantage. When you're getting to the rim, like Boozy was already doing it last year, just give a guy a quick little bump. He's got good touch to go over the top. Like I could see him really starting to burying defenders. And plus with his natural size, 6'10", super long wingspan, if you got like a 6'5" guard on you who can't hang with you down low, get him in that low block. Add that more physicality to your game. And then also become an all-world defender because he's got the potential to be that. And I've made this comparison for him. He really reminds me of Evan Mobley defensively, and he's kind of got some Franz Wagner in him offensively. But obviously Mobley, first team all defense this past year, one of the best defenders in the world. Like Boozy has that type of potential. He can switch on the ones, he can guard fours. And plus with him adding more physicality, adding more weight to his frame, he should be a better defender. But honestly, I think he will. If the one thing I can guarantee about Buzelis is that he will be one of the best defenders in the world because of his mindset and because of just his natural athletic ability. That's really all you need. But it really starts with that mindset, and he has that to be an all-world defender. And then also, how about the little in-between game? Because it kind of felt with Buzelis last year, everything was either going to the rim or was a three-point shot. Get that turnaround jumper going because he does have good size. He can fade back, shoot over the top of taller defenders. Then if he does have, smaller defenders, he can just rise up over the top. So developing that in-between game, get that mid-range game going, maybe get a little floater, just add another look defensively to give to other teams. But that in-between game I think is going to be huge. This might be something he develops maybe in more years 3, 4, and 5. Would be challenging to see him taking that next step in just year 2. But if he does, that would be absolutely awesome. And then this, playmaking out of the post. That little LeBron area right above the low block, like these big forwards who just, draw so much attention. Like that's really where they can feast. So get him more touches in that low post area. I think that could be huge for this team. But Buzelis, I'm excited to watch him play. He's going to have a hell of a year. And if you guys could hit that subscribe button on your way out, we'll keep you guys posted with everything around your Chicago Bulls. So hit that subscribe button today. And if you guys made it to the end of today's show, just give me a C red down below in the comment section. Appreciate all of you guys taking time out of your day to watch today's show. And, exciting times to be a Bulls fan. We got a good young core here. But I think it just starts with the guys, taking steps. And, Matas Buzelis is one of those guys. Like, if he can turn himself into a true bona fide all-star, then it's like, all right, you got Buzelis, could potentially be a second, third option on a championship team. Josh Giddey, I do think, could be a solid fourth, fifth option. But it all comes down to getting that one.